Hello. Welcome to the best Lords of Chaos film review you will find on the entire internet. Basically, if you make a YouTube video about this film without wearing corpse paint and using a candle for light, you're a poser and your opinion doesn't matter because you are not true Norwegian black metal. But about the movie. Basically, it starts off in 1987 and depicts the Norwegian black metal scene up until 1993 when Euronymous, the guitarist of Mayhem, was murdered by Varg Vikernes, who was in Mayhem and the band Brutsen. Now, so the movie starts, Euronymous is narrating the film, and there's a mistake right off the bat, which is one of the many criticisms the film gets, is that it is not accurate entirely. There's cringy moments, whatever, they're not using Norwegian accents, but a little mistake I noticed at the beginning. He says it's 1987, Norway. It proceeds to show Euronymous, Necrobutcher, in Mannheim, in Euronymous' room. And it shows a Cold Lake poster by Celtic Frost on the wall. That would have been impossible because Cold Lake was not released until very late 1988, and he had just said that it was Norway 1987. So there's that. But I'll go through a little summary of the film here and my thoughts on the parts. But so basically, it starts off, they're rehearsing and doing different things, acting like stupid kids. They suck at first as Mayhem, and they progressively get better. The drummer Mannheim, he quits the band, and they hire a guy named Hellhammer. Now, when Hellhammer first comes into the movie, he just poofs into the drum kit, twirling the sticks, and is like looking around all cocky, like looks like a douchebag. And they kind of made him look like a glam metal drummer, which, I don't know. I know he wore a headband in real life, but he was wearing a sleeveless Ozzy Osbourne, like, No Rest for the Wicked era shirt. I mean, I don't know. He's a great drummer, but moving forward, they end up hiring a guy named Dead as the singer. That was his stage name, and of course he was pretty messed up in the head, as most people know. They continue on, and one thing about the film that's pretty cool is the soundtrack. Like, there's a scene that shows like everybody partying, and they have Stand Up and Shout by Dio playing. They have Fast as a Shark by Accept playing, so it's cool to hear that. And then it gets to the scene where they're playing the concert, and Dead cuts his arms, and blood goes all over the concert crowd. Kind of just showing how messed up the guy was. He does that, and then he's like in pain in the next scene where they're at the eatery, at the restaurant, having dinner or whatever. But this is one of the more cringy moments of the movie, in my opinion, where one of Euronymous' friends goes, you guys are the best metal band in the world. And Euronymous goes on and says, we're not just a metal band. We're true Norwegian black metal. I'm sick of all that Swedish death and speed metal shit. They're just all about partying and having a good time. They should call it life metal. It's just like, dude, nobody says that. He did not say that. That just was stupid. But, you know, Euronymous gets up during the same scene and gets his food, and Varg is in there, and he's like, you guys are very good. The show, it was very good. And he stands up to try to shake Euronymous' hand, and Euronymous just stares at him and points at his Scorpions patch and basically calls him a poser for having the Scorpions patch. And I thought that was stupid. I think it would have made more sense if they put like a Poison patch on him. But Scorpions, not a poser band at all, and they're very well respected 70s hard rock into the 80s kind of heavy metal. Like, they're on the edge of heavy metal and hard rock, so that was pretty stupid. And then they talk shit about Scorpions later on in the movie too as well. But so the very next scene after the scene where they're eating in the restaurant is Dead's suicide scene. It's very graphic. It shows him cutting his arms, cutting his throat, and shooting himself in the head. But I don't know if this is true or not, but it basically shows the way Necro Butcher got fired from the band, and it's because he wouldn't wear a skull necklace, like a necklace made out of dead skull, is what Euronymous wanted all the members of Mayhem to wear, and Necro Butcher thought it was sick and said, no way, I'm not wearing this shit. And basically was fired because of that, and I don't know if that's true or not, but I know he was fired around that time, so possibly it could be true. Who knows? Moving forward, you know, Varg ended up like going to Euronymous' record store and giving them a tape, and Euronymous listened to the Burzum tape and loved it, and he thought it was amazing. Everybody liked it, and of course he was selling Burzum's albums on his record label, and of course Varg was the main man burning down the churches, and everybody was starting to look up to Varg because he had the great band Burzum, as he likes to call it. He had the great band Burzum, and he was burning the churches down. So Euronymous was getting jealous. He then made Varg, or he gave Varg the spot of being the bass player for Mayhem, so basically he could get back below him on the totem pole, like he was his boss there again, and people were starting to, so he just was getting jealous and tried to overshadow him. So moving forward, of course, there was the thing called the Black Circle, is what the group called themselves, who was burning down the churches between the members of Mayhem, and then there's a band called Emperor, and a guy named Faust was their drummer, and he helped burn down a church, and he murdered a gay man in the woods, which got attention throughout the news. So they were doing all this crazy stuff, and Varg wanted to go to the media and tell them about it, and Euronymous was very against it because Varg wanted to do it for promotion, to get, you know, more famous. And he did it, got arrested. Euronymous was pissed off because he told him not to do it, and basically Euronymous, in the heat of the moment, which makes sense to me, and they depicted it in the movie as this, said in the heat of the moment that he was going to tase and paralyze Varg, drag him to the woods, torture him to death, and make a snuff film about it. I think it was Hellhammer or someone heard him. He was talking to like Hellhammer or someone. Hellhammer told a guy named Blackthorn, who was another member of Mayhem at the time and was friends with Varg, that Euronymous was going to kill him doing this, and Varg took it very seriously. And so basically he ended up driving through the night to Euronymous' new apartment, because by this point Varg had quit the band because they were having some differences on certain things. I'll let you watch the movie to find out, but he quit the band, and then Euronymous sent him a contract to sign, basically, I think, like, giving him the rights of the Burzum albums and stuff back, and for different money and all this, but instead of mailing it back, he drives it all the way out to Euronymous' house, knocks on his door at 4 a.m. This is where I think Varg's real-life story is complete bullshit of self-defense. So he basically says, you know, he went there to try to confront him about the story of him, like, of Euronymous saying that he was going to paralyze him and torture him to death. And he says that he opened the door and attacked him, is what Varg says, and he had to stab him 23 times in self-defense. First off, 23 times stabbing is not self-defense. That's just a malicious overkill murder, and that's what I think that he intended to do. By going there, he went there with the intention in his mind that he was going to kill Euronymous, and he did just that. Barged in at 4 a.m., stabbed him to death 22 times, and the 23rd time right in the head to kill him. And he ended up getting arrested and was in jail for 15 years, and he's out now. But yeah, of course, so that's basically a little summary of the film. Overall, I thought it was pretty well made, and I think it will be getting more people into the genre of black metal that may not be into it as much right now, because it's a very interesting story. I feel like if they watch the movie, they'll be interested in it and try to get into the music. So I think it's a pretty good thing the movie was made. And even though it's not 100% entirely accurate, it's very entertaining to watch. Of course, there's some unnecessary things added here and there. The few the cringy moments, but overall, a pretty solid film, and definitely would recommend watching it. So if you want to just tell me what you thought of the film, you better make sure you're wearing corpse paint and using a candle for light if you want to offer an opinion to me. But yeah, thank you, and until next time.